Welcome back to Gnoll Way Home. I have to very carefully not say Gnoll playing games every single time. We're specifically playing version 2.2 or 0.2.2 because the game had to be updated specifically because somebody was a little too big for their sensor bar.
Wow.
This is a very funny patch note. Whoops. Yeah, where we left off, we woke up in the body. We seemed to be implied to be isekai essentially, but we actually don't. I don't think we developed that much about who our character was beforehand. But we woke up in the body of a Gnoll, and Tav is very mad at us because it's the body of his dead lover. So that's already a lot. And they think we're a demon because we're some sort of like outside of this world spirit that has possessed this body, and so we're restrained with a collar that is supposed to limit us in some ways, and we're going to like the Gnoll settlement.
Correct.
Even at the time, I was like, "This is exactly where you would cut off your update because now you got to get some art for all the characters, sprites in this new location." Well, I don't know where it's going, so that'll be fun. And this is all done by our friend Ka, who is our dungeon master over at Gnoll Playing Games, which is currently having a season right now of Cape Escape Season 2, so you should check that out. Get even more Ka and Gnolls.
You should.
In your life.
You should check it out.
Chapter 2, Leftovers and Soup. Down here, closer, I start to hear the sounds of the village. The scents along this trail become more tangible too. Other Gnolls. Lots of them. They're going to hate me. And every bit of that will be justified. I can't take back what I've done. Stinky's ears perk from a deep sigh I fail to mask. Hey, things are going to turn out just fine. All I can offer is thanks for his reassurance and a muted grunt. And if anyone tries to pick a fight with you, they'll have to go through me. Oh, come on. Serious. You don't need to protect me. Well, I don't see your dead weight technique winning any fights. I rebuke him with a glower, but it just makes him grin even wider. Fine. I'll be counting on you if there's trouble. Attaboy. I forgot we named the protagonist Escher.
Yeah, I guess we did.
Yeah, because didn't we have like... this game had no default name, right? I think. It's been a while.
It does not.
It had joke answers for our names, which is always, that's fun. There's a palpable tension in the air when we set foot in the village. While the others are torn away by various greetings and embraces, I'm left adrift in the sea of narrowed eyes and a wave of whispers. All that scrutiny, all that mistrust, it's writ plain as day on their faces, and it twists the knife of trepidation that's been stuck in my side this entire journey. They already know who I am. They know what I am. They keep their distance at first, watching, waiting. Then a shrill battle cry sounds out, and the children arrive. Not the children. That's exactly my fear. There has to be a dozen of them. No, 100. That's a more respectable number to get beaten up by. He's lying in real time. The first introduces himself to me with a running kick to the dick. Uh-huh. I crumple instantly, while the others which the others take as a sign of encouragement. In seconds, they're upon me, every inch of my body kicked, slapped, and spat upon. They strip the flesh from my bones, desecrate my remains, and call me expletives most unmerciful until nothing is left. A fitting end. I will not be missed. Then one of them chomps down hard on my tail, reminding me that this massive body of mine does in fact still exist, mostly unscathed. But the slings and barbs still hurt on the inside. Oi! Brats! The beatings cease. Morale improves. This here's my minion. I defeated him first. Laid him low in a single blow. Technically correct. Because we weren't allowed to fight back.
Yep.
An impressed collective of murmurs rise from my pint-sized assailants. Go ahead, minion. Show them who you belong to. Bark like a dog. Which we aren't. What? Pup play? 5 minutes into the episode?
Yeah.
The armistice wavers. The children look at me expectantly. He's really going to make me do this. Bark. Gonna need a bit more than that, minion. I take a deep breath. There's no salvaging this. I raise my hands in mock of a dog's floppy ears. Woof, woof, bark, bark, woof, woof, woof. This is a meme.
Yeah, this is a meme.
Yep. Woof,
I'm gonna yell
woof, bark, bark. Woof, 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 bark, bark. Woof, 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 bark, bark, bark.
I'm gonna yell at Ka about that.
I'm gonna yell at him for putting a meme in the game.
Yeah, this crosses the no meme boundary.
I think I showed him this. I think I caused this moment. The children are smitten, cackling and howling in delight at the funny clown man debasing himself for their amusement. I can't need to do that. In front of so many people. Oh, he's dead. I'm dying. I'm dead. Send flowers. Stinky's own collapse makes him the new target of the miniature miscreants to climb the knot. Though at least he's able to return fire and roughhouse them right back. Humiliating as it was, that tactic seems to have worked. Many of the children have begun to disperse, some of them teasing one another with mocking impressions of my bombastic ass-foolery. Even the adults in the area seem to have dismissed any notions that I might be a threat, their expressions looking more relieved after that idiotic indulgence. He's into alliteration this episode. Glancing around, I notice many of them have swarmed Tav, much as their children did me. Though instead of beating the dignity from him, they're clamoring for the letters he carries. He looks overwhelmed, but fights through it, managing to raise his voice above the din of the crowd and call out the proper recipients. Soon, he's relieved from duty by another Gnoll that claims to be a speaker, ducking through the crowd to catch back up with me. What's a speaker?
The Shattertusk term for those capable of reading the Imperial script. There's only a handful capable of this throughout the entire village. Supposedly, there are many other scripts in the Imperial archives, but theirs is the only one that is taught openly. This little man can fit
so many letters in him.
I forgot that it was written in multiple voices.
Yeah, it's the voice of the dead guy.
Yeah. Don't forget, you're the one who taught me.
And then they talk back and forth because it's a live journal.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't think that's even what a live journal was, but it is a journal that has a live element and that they're interacting on it. Oops.
No, a live journal is literally just a blog. It's just a journal.
Yeah, I'm saying this is a live journal, though.
Oh, gotcha.
Oh, Snapdragon. The notification happens before the text appears, so I was started to worry that I was behind by one. Stinky finds somewhere comfy for Opa to rest and waves for us to continue on continue on without him while he distracts the remaining kids with a game of Snapdragon.
A species of serpent-like moving plants that infest the Wombwood. Though their jagged maws appear dangerous, they can do little more than bite and swallow vermin-sized prey. Thankfully, they're not ambulatory, and though particularly long ones can wrap around in between the branches of trees. Each is still bound by the base and dies if uprooted. They don't possess eyes or ears, but instead sense motion through heat and vibration. The botanical beasts often misidentify travelers as prey and snare them for a nasty tumble.
Wonder what else that maw do.
The local Shattertusk Gnolls also seem to have some sort of sport named after the creature, but every time I investigate it, the rules are completely different.
The meta is changing at an alarming rate. He speaks entirely in memes.
Yeah.
He's a meme Gnoll, and that's why he was killed. He died for his memes. It mostly seems to involve moving his arm around like a snake and snapping his hand out to tickle the little buggers. But I guess they've made some sort of game out of it.
Come on, before it gets dark. I'm having to reacquaint myself with the characters. Like, I don't remember who is who.
Yeah. Tav was mostly you, but like with an affect. Like the breathy anime affect, because he's dramatic.
Oh, okay.
It wasn't
talk
sort of
like this.
I know that. Okay.
I'm an anime character now. It's time.
Toaster didn't do his homework.
I didn't do my homework. I didn't pay attention at all.
Moving through the town, I'm surprised at just how many shapes and sizes of gnolls there are. Tall, skinny, short, bulky, and everything in between, though it seems like Tav and I are about the far ends of the adult height range. Size difference. Every now and then I spot one or two with a rather strange, unsettling physical characteristics.
Wombwood refugees, don't gawk.
But I thought the Wombwood didn't affect gnolls.
Anything or anyone that's born there comes out different, even gnolls. We're just the only ones that can safely traverse it. Other people end up, they usually don't stay people for long.
But I never have to go back there. As we continue our trek, I notice a wide variety of dress on display as well, in a plethora of different styles. As well as more casual nudity than Tav seems comfortable with. He hurriedly takes me by the paw as we navigate through the crowded village streets. This was drawn by Demon Skunk.
Correct.
I was like, that's a specific brush. Even though there's only a few buildings total, it seems like there's considerably more gnolls than that living here. The overall atmosphere seems lively, with a plethora of open chatter throughout the streets. From what little I managed to pick up as we passed through, it seems a lot of it is about me. My ears swivel a few times as I hear people mention that I could use some soup. Soup.
Huh. Soup.
I don't think it's the typo of soap, because the title of the chapter was soup.
Yeah, I
don't
think
know
it's
what
soup.
I'm just like, what does that mean?
Yeah, I think they're saying he needs some of the special soup.
Yeah, need to give
I
him
don't know
some
what
soup.
the soup is.
This guy needs the soup. He's soupless. Soup does sound really good right now. I ran out of bonus fruits hours ago. Rest sounds pretty good too. It's been a long travel day. And Tav made that journey twice today. He pauses as we reach one of the larger buildings on the far end of town, scrutinizing the drape drawn over its entrance before relinquishing a soft sigh.
Matron's busy. We'll have to wait.
He leans back against the side of the hut and slides down it, exhaling a deep sigh as he finally lets himself rest for the first time today.
How's my affect? Is it good? Are we back on track? Are we back on track for voicing the character yet?
This is what I'm gonna get hammered over. Was the first mention of a sigh phrased as a sigh out? Did I imagine that?
I don't know. If it is, I will. I'm gonna send Ka a very nasty letter.
Right now, in real time. I move to sit alongside him, but have to pause first to set down those wicker baskets he laden me with. I'd forgotten all about them. So, the matron, I guess she's the one in charge around here?
Sort of. We don't have a traditional matron like the old tribes.
So that's a normal thing for tribes to have? A matron in charge?
Some of them. Mostly the ones in and around the Wombwood. The others were led by warlords instead, but I don't think there's any of them left anymore. The Empire saw to that.
I quickly try to push the conversation forward, stumbling a bit. So, what makes this matron so special? In the awkward silence that follows, I realize that probably sounds a little more cynical than I intended. I mean, not to say she isn't. He huffs a beleaguered sigh. I'm just making things worse again, aren't I? I know it must be irritating to have to field so many basic questions, but I'm pretty much adrift here.
It's a long story.
I gesture to the occupied building. Think we've got time? He glowers, but soon leans his head back in defeat, acquiescing.
Brain got confused. The Imperials wiped out most of the tribes during the Grand Crusade. The color of the name bar, like my brain read it as an extension of the curtains above it. It was like, not just the Gnolls, pretty much everyone that wouldn't bend the knee to them.
Sounds pretty typical for an empire.
I guess. They want everyone to be good little workers, loyal Imperial dogs. And whoever they can't convert, they kill.
Brutal.
Yeah, that's what they call us.
I look around, thinking back to all the Gnolls I've met so far, and calling them brutal is a bit far-fetched. Kind old Opa, energetic but well-meaning Stinky. Okay, maybe the kids earn that descriptor. But even with everything Tav's going through, brutal might be the last word I'd use to describe him. So they either tame the savages or break them?
According to them, yeah. But even when you break a tribe, there's still pieces left over.
He scans his head around, observing the village as it stands now, so full of life.
And this is where they end up. Gnolls with no tribe left.
Huh. Well, they seem to be doing all right now. Tav shrugs.
They deserve better than this. Back in the Empire, there was so much... everything.
Everything?
Food, books, homes, everything. But not for everyone. If the Emperor favored you, you'd live in a lap of luxury. And if he scorned you, you slept in the gutters. The part we grew up in was the worst of the worst. Trash in the streets, tar in the water, smog in the air, plagues in the people. Even the houses got sick.
Huh.
It's like pathologic.
Yeah.
It's like pathologic.
I was like, hang on a minute.
they're in the town on Gorkhon.
Yeah.
That's fun.
To me, Burak.
They said it was right where us Gnolls belonged.
What's the name of the overall the Urdu? It's like the bull that is the world or something.
Bos Taroch. The Udorg.
Yeah, the Udur. He pauses, surveying again, sighing.
This is better than that, at least, but the spoils that the Emperor's favored enjoy. It's wasted on them.
I start to get a pretty good idea of why Tav and Gash left the city. It doesn't seem like life outside is everything he wanted it to be. And the Empire is probably not likely to change, is it?
No, they're pretty good at stamping out dissidents or turning them against one another. It's easy to get folks to agree on what's wrong, way harder to get them to agree on what's right. That's what Rath used to say. He's the only one that made any progress.
Who's that?
The big damn hero that stood up to the Empire until he gave up. He led a rebellion, several actually, I think. They freed a bunch of indentured servants, The Empire doesn't like it when you call them slaves. But it didn't amount to much in the end. No matter how hard they fought, the Empire's just too big. Anywhere they liberated just ended up with a target on its back. At some point, the people didn't even want to be saved anymore.
So what happened? Why'd he give up?
He got old and sad, decided he was done fighting, helped found the village here. Brought together all the broken pieces that we have left that were left over. I can speak, guys. I promise that English is one of my languages that I speak. I know it's really shocking to hear that.
Are you sure? I want video evidence.
Yeah, it's true that in fact I do speak English. Poorly, but I do it.
Oh, I guess that's why it's called Shattertusk.
Yeah. The old warlords took pride in their tusks. The bigger, the better. Said those made them good leaders, strong and virile.
The smaller Gnoll prods at one of his own rather scrawny endowments.
Didn't do them much good when the Crusade swept through.
Look at the funny little dog soldier.
Yeah, this is also Demon Skunk art, I think. Yeah. The ears and the eyes, the eye guards. That's how you can tell.
And the brush.
Yeah, and the brush. He does draw with the same brush. This is us. This is fun for the viewers because they get to hear us make fun of our friends. The Empire's term for the quest to forcibly bring all other cultures they encounter under their rule. After the conquest of nearly all nearby tribes over sorry, I had to reread that because there's a lot in this sentence. The conquest of nearly all nearby tribes over the past few generations. I don't know if you need nearly all. It could just be after the conquest of nearby tribes over the past few generations. That's just like a little bit of like word editing that might be useful there. Over the past few generations, they now turn their gaze seaward to see if they can expand beyond the continent.
Dopes on a boat. Could be, or most nearby tribes. Because nearly nearby is like a rough sentence, even though it's not even actually, it's not necessarily the same word.
It's not the same word. It just, there's a flow to it.
I reach up to feel over one of the oversized tusks jutting out of my own muzzle. Virile, huh?
Just superstition. They don't really mean anything.
I stifle a cackle as a pair of satisfied-looking gnolls emerge from the hut. My nose immediately picks up quite a bit of sweat and musk radiating from them. As the two depart, playfully chatting under their breath and nudging at one another, I notice Tav rise and head in. I follow quickly behind after I gather up the baskets, already getting used to staying within the leash's domain. The interior of the matron's hut is more spacious than I expected. Let's look at it because it's behind the text a bit. That's a giant hunk of meat that almost has got stripes on it. That pot is not going to be helping. I guess that they keep cutting off of it. A huge hut.
It is a big hut.
The interior of the matron's hut is more spacious than I expected. Uh-huh.
Big hut.
Big hut. The first thing that catches my eye is the truly massive shank of meat that lies upon the low table near the doorway. Behind it, I'm surprised to see a roaring fire lighting a stone hearth with a bubbling cauldron upon it. I feel like this is an example of why background artists for visual novels might want to work with a safe zone. Because in this case, the subject is like behind the text, basically. Like the most notable details of the drawing are basically hidden. Which you can view. It just looks not ideal to center it there.
You can view that, but for all of you visual novel writers that like want my mind share, know that for a fact, I'm never, ever, 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 ever going to disable the text box. It's not going to happen.
Yeah.
So if you want me to see it, you got to put it up another 1.5 centimeters.
Yeah, there's interesting things to unpack about how, like, and this comes up to me with me a lot because I do YouTube thumbnails and stuff. Like, I'll often have in my templates like placeholder examples of like where the time code normally goes in the thumbnail, because I know it's going to overlay it, so I need not put like important stuff there unless if I can avoid it and stuff like that.
Yeah,
like that area still has something in it, but that's where you put you just don't put details there. Essentially, you just fill that part. Behind it, I'm surprised to see a roaring fire lighting a stone hearth with a bubbling cauldron upon it. Is it finally time for soup?
Oh no.
A Gnoll woman, tall and gangly, hums softly to herself as she slices through the massive hunk of meat with effortless grace. The bone-carved knife in her paws splits the flesh with unnatural ease. I look to Tab to try and gauge etiquette here, but his ears perk as a curtain is drawn open on the other side of the abode. A gruff voice from behind it beckons to him. Tab motions for me to stay here, heading behind the curtain and leaving me alone with who I can only assume is the matron. No fucking pressure, I guess. Check out that eyeliner.
She looks cool. I like her. She looks like she'd be friends with Miss Potatoes.
Knife, a little terrifying fetus necklace. The hairdo. Hello. I linger awkwardly, trying to peek behind the partition before she chuckles dryly. Her voice has a harsh quality to it, thickly accented in a melodic way that I've only heard a few times around town so far. A gangly Gnoll. I wonder how. Let's see.
This is like a. It's an accent.
It's Gambit.
Yeah.
This ain't the place to be snooping around. Get your prying ears away, boy. I flinch, wheeling around to meet her gaze with paws instinctively raising to plead innocence. Her chuckling rises into a distinct, sharp cackle that sends a twinge of terror up my spine. Really like the iteration of this update. Come here, demon boy. Let Nika have a look at this one.
Nika is the advocate of the Shattered Tusk tribe. She uses her familiarity with different religions to mediate between the disparate beliefs and cultural practices of the different tribes that have coalesced here. She's also a skilled voker, favored by Broodmother, and is exceptionally knowledgeable about medicinal poultices. I thought it said policies.
Medical policies.
Yeah, I was like, wow, medicinal policies. She's a really important legislator.
Don't never ask her about the funny critter in her necklace. It ain't a sensitive topic, but she'll take it out and torment you with it, and it's super creepy.
She keeps it as a reminder of why she was exiled from the Brood Witches. She says it helps her focus and makes her a better voker.
It's gross. I feel my ears pinned back at her command, submitting and moving closer despite my nerves. Even though I'm bigger than her, there's something about her voice and presence that commands respect. Before I even realize she's close enough to do so, she's got a paw grasping my chin, roughly thrusting it upward to examine me. I freeze in place, terrified of that intense look in her eye and the sadistic smirk that stretches across her muzzle. Seems to be working. Takes me a moment to realize she's talking about the collar. Is she the one that made it? Lets my head drop back down and I struggle to stand before her without quaking. Just remember, you take this off, your head go boom. I can't tell if that's her idea of a joke or not, but she does seem to be feasting on my fear at the prospect of sudden head explosion. Ha ha ha! Never seen a demon shake like that before. You piss on my floor, you're the one cleaning it up. She punctuates the threat with a chiding wave of her index finger and a few accompanying clicks of her tongue. Calm yourself, boy. Nika ain't gonna hurt you any less than you give it. Gonna hurt you less you give me a reason to. I gulp, trying to steal my resolve. This one got a name? Asher. She makes a tour around me, examining and prodding at my body in a way that only makes me more tense. Looks about the same, this one. Smells the same, too. At this distance, I can parse her smell as well, without even needing to close my eyes. Oop. Her smell brings to mind poisonous plants, rot, and death. There's a commanding malice to her scent that makes me quiver. It somehow reminds me of that place. Quit your sniffing around, boy. I'll put that nose of yours in me cauldron. She brandishes that wicked-looking knife with a terrifying grin. Sorry, I didn't mean to... What are you making in there anyway? Soup? You really do know nothing, eh? Brewing poultices. But keep your greedy paws away from there. That'd be a special brew. Matrons only. She sheaths that knife and pushes a bowl full of hairy roots towards me. Now make yourself useful and help Nika peel this here death root while you wait. Gotta get through another batch of these before sundown. Somebody's gotta keep these people from falling apart. I hesitate before slowly navigating around the weird tubers and try to figure out how to peel them with just my claws. I'm certainly not gonna ask for her knife. Once my mind wanders to consider what she said, my claws start to move with more effortless motions. Wait, but I thought gnolls didn't get sick. Not like other folks, we don't. Not food sick, no plague or poison, but there's still other ailments to deal with. Like what? Ghosts in your blood? A searing pain alights through my forehead as she flicks it with her sharpened claw. Like demons in your noggin, you daft hellspawn. Oh, ow. Sorry. Broken bones and old age are happy to visit us too, don't you know? Maybe Nika breaks some of yours to get you familiar. That's not necessary. I'll be good. You better. You walk a razor's edge, demon boy. Shh. You just better hope those two take mercy on you. As she points to the curtain on the other side of the room, I realize I haven't heard a peep since Tav went back there. Who's that back there with Tav? Oh, that's just me husband. They're probably deciding your fate back there as we speak. Oh, well, how do you think that's gonna go? I trust me husband's judgment on that. He's the only man in this world to earn me respect. You know why that is? Because he knows that he knows nothing. Too many fool of a man in this world think they know everything under the sun. He questions everything, even himself. The old tribes would see that as weakness, a death knell for their leader. But I think otherwise. He's open to new ideas, to reconsidering who he is as a person, who we are as people. It's not weakness, it is flexibility, adaptability, hell, maybe even wisdom. Speak of the devil, or demon. The curtain is pulled back and I hear Tav calling from the other side.
Fine, take a look at him yourself.
After a brief pause, I realize I'm being summoned. Go! Do not make me say twice, boy. I hurry over, relieved to escape Nika's overwhelming presence. Beyond the curtain, I see the source of that gruff voice. Back turned to me, polishing a hefty firearm with a wicked-looking blade mounted beneath its barrel. Hello.
He has gun.
Yep. Big gun. Big-ass World of Warcraft-ass knife gun. And consistent swoopy Gnoll hair. That's consistent. And that thigh gap. The older Gnoll turns, surprising me with a stark dichotomy of appearance. Tav motions towards me with a wild gesticulation as I arrive.
Listen to me, Rath. He's a demon. You're really just gonna let him run free around the village?
That gruff voice returns, tinged with a rustic drawl as the older Gnoll responds. Does this guy just sound like Beck?
Oh, should I voice him? Do you want me to do my Beck voice for him?
I could try doing another voice. I don't know.
I can do it. I can voice him if you want me to.
Do it.
All right. Yeah, if we ain't a danger to nobody, he's gonna put in his fair share of work around here. This is... The
tiny Gnoll makes a show of unraveling the leash from his wrist as far as it will go, and marches outside with a pronounced surge of frustration.
I'm getting soup.
What is soup?
I think it's soup. I think it's just good soup. Good soup. That's a meme too.
I was also about to say, like, where's Tav? He's at soup. More soup memes. After he does his best to dramatically close the curtain behind him on the way back out, I realize that the drape seems to be immediately shut out all sound beyond it. A deep sigh from the Gnoll he was arguing with reminds me that I'm left once more awkwardly sifting through the fallout of yet another Tav outburst.
Boy's got a strong sense of justice. Reminds me of myself when I was younger. It's a darn tough thing to grow out of.
So, you're...
Rath, matron of the Shadowtusk tribe.
Da-da-da.
Rath is the founding and current matron of the Shadowtusk tribe. He and his would-be revolutionaries have put aside their swords for plowshares.
His good boy... What? His good boys sure get their share of plowing.
Crude, but sort of true. He was known for retaining high troop morale through individual counseling and rewards for his followers. Imperial propaganda always painted him as a deviant for that.
Nika says Rath used a sacred herb from Wombwood to make himself more matronly. Never seen him smoke that Wombwood, though. Smoking that Wombwood, though.
Wombweed.
Wombweed, damn it.
It's called dire fennel, and it's hard to get because it only grows in the Wombwood. That's why he always asks if we found any when we travel through there.
I would stick to Fade Leaf. My eyes go wide with the realization, and I quickly bow my head in what I hope is a fairly universal display of reverence. Sorry, I didn't realize, sir. Ma'am?
Neither's fine, kid. Ain't too picky these days. And I suppose I ain't exactly your typical matron anyhow, but we make do here.
I'm put at ease a bit by how effortlessly he diffuses the tension in the air. I just assumed Nika was in charge.
Yeah, that's what I'd suggested too originally. It's hard to do with my Beck voice when my lips are really dry. Really hard, actually. Gotta get real slippery. It's because I have a really unique vocal posture for this. Like I really have to like puff out my lower lip and stuff. So she's had her fill of leadership already, though. Weren't no talking her into it. She's a shrewd one. I already had a bargain in mind when she turned me down. Offered her aid as an advisor of sorts.
And in return?
My hand. In marriage, as it turns out.
Not under like the chopping way.
I figured it was 50-50 she swiped that flesh carver of hers through my wrist and keep my shooting hand as a trophy, truth be told.
Oh, we're thinking about the same thing.
Flesh carver. A sacred ceremonial dagger. I should do this in a Pokedex
I thought that multiple times.
Sacred ceremonial dagger used by the brood witches of the Wombwood for all sorts of gruesome rituals. Jesus.
Ika mostly uses it for lunchtime.
While it is usable on inert meat, yes, it's more notable for its magic ability to effortlessly carve through still living flesh while instantly sealing any wounds it creates. Stories say the brood witches used it to keep their victims alive while slowly carving off pieces of them for ritual sacrifice.
She threatened to end my family line with it if I touched it again.
Well, don't play with magic knives then.
Can't tell me what to do.
But either price is more than fair for what she brings to the table.
Oh, I didn't realize Gnolls did marriage.
We don't, usually. Warlords used to keep harems, sure, but most Gnolls just take mates as they come.
The cut ending of Baldur's Gate 3. Sounds lonely.
Who knows if that ending will make it back in the patch notes, because I know that they said they're patching in more evil endings for the game, so who knows, maybe that will be a thing. Never felt that way to me. Keeping your mate locked away like property, now that's lonely. That's a typo. Go back. Now, period, that's lonely. It should be a comma.
So you're having second thoughts about it?
No, it's a trivial sacrifice for the sake of the tribe. Besides, she may be a bit possessive, but she still lets me tend to me duties.
I love the goofy little gobsmacked moments where they have a little shocked expression before they actually continue on to the next line because they realize that you've perceived something about them they didn't want you to, essentially. That happens periodically. Duties.
Managing morale. Whether it's soldiers or civilians, I've always kept a calling to keep spirits up. Always felt a calling to keep spirits up.
So that's the matron's role here?
Well, it's the way I've been doing these things since way back when. But I've been learning new ways to soothe the spirit these days.
With magic?
With words. Sometimes touch just ain't enough.
Wait, what?
Bit of fraternization was enough to keep my good boys in line back in the day, but we face different problems nowadays.
We've moved on from sex to therapy.
Different sorts of anxieties that need taken care of. So I listen. I hear their worries. I give them what comfort I can. Offer advice if they want it, or just an ear to vent to. This is funny, but I'm also getting really emotional doing the Beck voice, so it's hitting me really hard. I guess when you've managed not to die as long as I have, you can't help but pick up some kind of wisdom.
Some of the lines read as Beck lines now.
Yeah, it is very much well-adjusted Beck, therapist Beck. I don't know, there's something deeply funny about that. And if they need to blow off some steam too, well, if needs must.
Oh.
But, we ain't here to talk about me. We need to talk about you, kid.
What if my needs must? I tense up, remembering once more that my life is on the line here. That was not the facial expression I thought he would say that he would have when he got to that point. When he got to if needs must, I was like, oh, he doesn't seem positive about that at the point.
Real shame the way things played out. Gash was one of our only lifelines to the outside world, you know.
That wasn't I didn't mean for any of this to happen.
Well, what was it you intended, if you don't mind me asking?
I don't know. I didn't think things would turn out this way.
You didn't think about the guy whose body you were jacking.
I didn't even know that's what was happening. I just heard a voice calling to me. He pulled me here.
The void call.
What?
That's how the stories usually go. The victim's anguish calls out to the void, and the demons come answering. They use that moment of desperation to infiltrate the body and seize control.
He takes a long, deep look into my eyes, studying my obvious lack of comprehension.
But it could be that you're just like rainwater filling a ditch.
My gaze drifts downward. Maybe if I had resisted the call, Gash would still be here. He growls softly to himself and scratches at his mutton chops.
You know, you could have made this a lot easier on me by just being a monster.
He taps his gun to indicate what he does to monsters. But I'm not.
Yeah, I don't see a monster here. I see a scared pup caught up in a mess beyond his reckoning.
He moves to holster that rifle onto his back. But
oh, that's you.
It's still my fault, isn't it?
Hard to say. Well, from what Tav's told me, you've been real cooperative ever since you got here.
I mean, yeah. If I caused this, then it's my responsibility to fix it.
And if it comes down to it, is that a higher priority than saving your own hide?
I want to get Gash back, but I don't want to go back either. I want both.
Both, huh? Now you're sounding greedy like a demon.
Well, what's wrong with that?
Honestly, that sounds more reasonable to me than the piteous martyr act Tav was accusing you of.
He... what?
He's hurting something fierce. He ain't seeing straight.
'Cause he's gay.
But I'm willing to give you a shot.
Please no. Really? Well, what does that entail?
We'll call it a probationary period. You stay here with us till we can figure out how to fix this mess.
You really mean it? Really? I can stay?
Quit that tail wagging, pup. You look like an imperial dog.
Stop it, Tail.
Now, I ain't offering you a free ride. You're gonna work while you're here.
Only the good boys get free rides. Of course, I'll do everything I can to bring Gash back.
Well, for the time being, we ain't got no leads on that. But what we do have are houses that need building. Fields that need tilling.
He motions to the baskets I once again forgot I'd been hauling that day.
Mail that needs delivering. But I'll be watching you. We all will. If you're gonna be one of us, you need to be on your best damn behavior.
I like the detail that Escher is so fucking huge that he doesn't even realize he's carrying stuff around this whole time. He's just continually forgetting that he's hauling gear. Like, he has all these packages and supplies and that they put on him, and he just keeps not noticing that they're there.
We'll make a good boy out of you, yeah.
Promise? My tail verges on whiplash.
There's something very real about a military squadron or like a militia being called the good boys. Like, that's like actually like 100% believable to me. Because it's like, whenever you like read like fiction, and I'm not even just talking furry visual novels, I'm talking like fiction in general, it'll be like, this is the glorious Kingsguard and his group of assassins, the Mist Shadow Cloaks. And it's like, no, I know people who have been in the military, and like they all have nicknames that are embarrassing and don't make any sense, and like their squadron battalion name is like the Mac and Cheese Dudes. Like, it doesn't make any sense. Like, it's like and then you ask them how they got that name, and they're like, yeah, all of us were eating mac and cheese from the cafeteria at the mess hall, and then our squad leader came over and he looked at us and he said, what are you, a bunch of mac and cheese boys? And then it just stuck forever. And it's like, that's just like how these things work. Or it's like or
what
like
is
another
this, some
example,
kind of mac and cheese squad.
Yeah, exactly. And then they're known as the mac and cheesers for the rest of their time in the military. And like, it's crazy. It's so stupid. But like, I have an example of this. There was a dude I met in college who lived on my floor in my dorm, and we were all really good friends with him. He was from like 10 minutes from my hometown. I swear to God, the entire 4 years I was at school where I knew this person, I guess a few of those years I was in Japan, so it wasn't in contact the whole time, but for all of those years that like I knew this person and was in school with them, no one knew his name. Everyone just called him Crunchwrap because the first time, like, we just saw him go out and get a Crunchwrap once, and we were like, what's up? And he's like, eating a Crunchwrap, and it just stuck, and we just called him Crunchwrap for literally the rest of the time we knew him. Like, so it was like, oh yeah, like I need to run to the gym. Can like someone give me a ride? And then someone would be like, oh yeah, Crunchwrap can do that. He has a truck, and we would just go with Crunchwrap. Like that was his name. We called him Crunchwrap. I think I've told this story on the channel before, but yeah, so, like but it's just funny. We just saw him once, and he was eating a Crunchwrap, and he was super baked. He went out to Taco Bell, got a bunch of Crunchwraps, was eating them. But like, yeah, his name was just Crunchwrap for forever from that point on. And like, that's how like military, or frat like names persist, is like, you just get that forever. Like that, it sticks with you. Yeah, exactly. Crunchwrap is a really good persona name, as an aside.
It is. Oh.
Now let's get that damn collar off you.
He looks at the partition and heads over to tug it open. She didn't hear all that, did she?
Nah. The shroud here makes it the perfect place to talk things out in confidence.
The shroud?
A privacy curtain the matron uses to guarantee confidentiality during personal counseling. It's been stitched together from the remnants of several Oh, hiccups. Really bad hiccups. Hold on.
You alright?
My body hurts. I think it passed. I think it was just one. I don't know why that happened. That was weird. It's been stitched together from the remnants of several enchanted cloaks Rath used for scouting and reconnaissance during the revolts.
In the matron's room, nobody can hear you complete. God damn it. What is this visual? There's a hand there. And then this
I think it's like flesh that's been knitted together and stuff like that.
Yeah, but this part's open, right? This V?
I think it's just a pleat.
It's a hand though, right?
I see what you're seeing as a hand. I don't think it's a hand.
You don't think this is a hand?
No, I think
like that's the shoulder, that's a bicep, that's the forearm, that's the wrist, that's the thumb, that's the fingers. It's holding something.
Oh, maybe. Maybe.
Which is, but like, I can't make sense of it because this looks like an arm. This looks like balls in a shaft. So it's like, what am I looking at here?
Well, I don't think that's balls in a shaft. Maybe it's just a shoulder and then another hand around the shoulder.
There's just a little bee.
Or like someone tucked in. I don't know.
Cannot make sense of that visual, but that's definitely an arm. That's all I know. Weird. Nobody can hear you complete. He does speak entirely in memes. Maybe we should leave Gash dead. Maybe that's the takeaway. Because he makes Game Grumps jokes. Oh, thank whatever gods they have here.
Wife, get in here.
Shh. Address me proper.
Please.
Love it when a man begs.
Will you just get this damn thing off of him? That's the fun. So this is a stupid thing, but back when we were doing Dead Laws, I had key phrases that I would use to like get into character for Beck, and I would like use it to tweak his voice and like get to where I need to be. And one of them was, "God damn it, Argo." And then I would work that until it went really well. "God damn, get this collar off of him." And then, yeah, so, "God damn it, Argo. God damn it, Argo."
If you're missing the context here, we have a channel called Gnoll Playing Games, which we did mention earlier, but Dead Laws was our second tabletop RPG series, which was a Weird West series that took place in old cowboy days.
Yeah,
he
1904.
He played a nightmare cannibal ghost cowboy.
I played a ghost cowboy zombie named Beck, and he is my baby. He's my legacy. He's the greatest character I've ever written and I've ever played. And he's very close to my heart, so I feel it's like this is an opportunity for me to replay Beck a little bit. It's fun.
You want it removed. Without
killing him, yeah.
This was not in the specifications.
This is you.
What? I got surprised because he was shocked.
Delayed reaction.
Well, I got surprised because the character on screen became shocked at that moment, so it just fit.
I didn't even notice.
Yeah.
You gotta be kidding.
Blood witch restraints ain't normally concerned with you being alive when they done with you.
Nika.
I mean, if you want to call her back intact, you could take his head off with me flesh carver.
Nika.
Oh, here comes the existential dread again.
Midwesterner caw comes through. Hope.
I take some me time to sit down and cradle my knees as they hash things out. After being dismissed from the matron's hut, collar intact, I find my growing appetite managing to steal focus from the pall of despair that hangs over me. A few passing gnolls inquire if I'm headed for soup and motion for you to follow along. I like the idea of soup just being the looming mystery for the entire episode. I need this. Following their lead, I soon find myself in a rather sizable congregation of gnolls bound for the large cave mouth just outside of town. A wave of tantalizing soup smell passes through them, visible through their instinctive reactions as noses reflexively draw up to the wind to sample it. I don't realize how much I'm salivating until I notice the snickers of a few onlookers. How am I supposed to keep it all in with tusks this big? Getting closer, I see a few gnolls already headed back to the opposite way towards the village, laden with hearty earthen pots full of soup. But I'm not sure why it's being prepared in a cave. I've not long to consider that before an answer makes itself apparent. What? More questions. Wait. Inside the cave, dozens of rocky pools bubble with water cast in a golden glow by the setting sun. It looks like a freaking, like, sulfur hot spring. Like the guys at yeah.
Yeah.
As steam rises from them, I spot bits of fragrant vegetation and hunks of unidentifiable meat slowly softening in their embrace. A group of gnolls works to stir in new ingredients while directing us poor, hungry souls to which pools are ready. What if it is? What if they're using a hot spring as a cooking implement because they're too tough to be killed by these things? At last, I've made it. I'm at soup. God damn it. I can't wait even a second longer, grabbing from a nearby stack what I assume to be a bowl of communal use and scooping some out, much like gnolls before me. I take a deep whiff, the steam tickling my brain as it softens my sinuses. It's too hot, but I'm hungry. But it's hot. Hunger defeats reason. A yowl escapes me, drawing further snickers from the other gnolls as they see me bested by soup that is too hot. I'm solidifying my clownish reputation here, but I don't care. I'll clown for soup. Swept up in the sweet embrace of soup, time slips away as I down bowl after bowl of the savory delight. Each pool offers new flavors and aromas. I can't help but overindulge a little.
I think this is a reference to Kaw's home game.
Maybe?
I think this is a reference to
The one you're playing or another one?
No, the one that came before it. There was a big soup arc that happened.
The soup arc.
Yeah. So there was a soup arc that happened, and I don't know all the details, but it did involve people selling soup and getting soup, and soup kind of being the lifeblood of the group. So I think this is a reference to that. Maybe I'm wrong. Kaw will tell me later when he watches the episode.
I don't know. It's part of the magic of tabletop is you get a lot of like story nonsense that you can then use in other stuff. Or maybe a lot. Before long, my sloshing soup gut strains under the weight of my gluttony. Got soup inflation. In the embrace of that blissful broth, he really likes alliteration in this update. I barely noticed that the crowd around me migrates further into the cave, sweeping me up along with them. Beyond the initial culinary calderas, he's fucking with me. God damn.
Yeah, he is. Yeah.
I'm greeted by a very different use case for natural hot springs. Both my bowl and loincloth are soon taken by helpful hands, and I'm left standing naked and afraid before dozens of bathing gnolls. Everybody's naked. Everybody's naked.
There's lots of naked.
There's
did
so
he
much naked.
Censor the CG?
I don't know if the CG had nudity in it. Well, the CG does have nudity in it because I can see backsack. I'll let you find where, audience, because I will have probably censored it.
Is that backsack or is that thigh?
No, because his legs are all the way on the far left and right, so the middle part, that's just some backsack right there.
Maybe.
Fucking Tav. Tav is just... Tav is a person all on their own. Just up to their own shit. Eternally. Just the flower hot spring. Let's see. Are any of these characters recognizable?
So there's Rath and Nika in the left. Opa, Stinky, Tav. I don't think we've met any of the others, and they don't look... Like, I don't see any obvious ones like Dead Stray Bear, but maybe
it doesn't look like it's obviously packed full of Persona cameos.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Because the most distinct looking characters are the two that we just met last scene. Who apparently beat us here? Opa just takes up space. Tav's stupid fucking flower petals are so fucking funny. The body language. He is not ready for... He's not ready for Gnoll life. He needs to be back in the city. Gnoll soup? I guess I should bathe and not just stand here with everyone staring at me in my junk. Looking around, there aren't a lot of vacant pools. Tav appears to be bathing with some fragrant petals, but one glance assures me that I'm not welcome to join. Rath and Nika are occupied with one another. They must have arrived while I was lost in soup frenzy. I feel like this is a goofier update than the first one was, but I don't know. The internal narration's very funny.
Yes.
Stinky invites me over with some very forward gesturing. And Opa is straight up unconscious. I should probably check on him. I splash down to join Opa, surprised both with how perfect the water temperature seems, and with how elegantly Opa's saggy scrotum floats up to the pool surface. Mesmerizing. Opa? How you doing? I give a soft jostle to rouse him, met in turn with relief as he loudly snorts himself back awake. The drowsy old-timer stretches and yawns out a half-awake inquiry.
I was Opa?
Yeah, you're an old man.
Okay. Yeah. Brought me fresh meat.
Oh, no. His outstretched paw comes to rest down behind me.
I think you're dead.
Stinky whistles. Okay, I think maybe you should take a break from the hot water.
But I've got so much left to scrub. You wouldn't mind helping, Asher? Fair's fair, isn't it? Who do you think kept you fed and scrubbed while you slept the days away at my place?
Oh. I guess that's fair then. I shouldn't be so prudish about... Okay, he has an erection. Opa.
Look, miracle that it still works at my age, kid. I can't be picky about when it works.
Looking around, I notice many other gnolls casually helping one another wash up, even in intimate regions. So this isn't too out of the ordinary, it seems.
They would smell so bad if they're bathing in soup. That's hitting me right now. I'm just imagining a bunch of dogs that smell like wet chicken noodle.
They're not bathing in soup. They're bathing in different hot springs that are also here.
I know.
The detail. It's so upsetting up there. Just taking a Campbell's shower.
I'm just saying that the connection there is finally met with the soup chaos and the hot springs chaos right near each other, that now my brain is going chicken noodle soup wet dog. And that's not great.
I wonder if wet hyena smells like wet dog.
Wet fur in general smells bad.
Okay. I don't know the rules.
So the reason why it smells bad isn't because dogs inherently smell bad. It's because there's bacteria trapped under their fur and from their sweat and stuff like that as well. And not sweat, but their dander and shit like that. So, and they just pick up dirt and grime and stuff. So basically every animal will smell to some degree, and then musky animals will smell even worse.
Let's scrub them real good.
And that's really bad for them. It's really bad for them. So,
whoops.
Yeah, you shouldn't. Most animals, fun fact, as someone who has done rescues for animals, under most circumstances, you actually shouldn't bathe animals. You want to do it if there's something really bad going on, they got into something, or they're really matted, or there's some harm to them that could be caused by it. And it's okay to do it, to wash them off if there's if they again pose an inconvenience to people and things like that. But for the most part, for example, shaving a cat's fur down to their skin, if they're not a hairless cat, is actually really bad for their skin. It can give them acne. They're just not built for it. Yeah. Things like that. So overwashing your animals can be a thing. You don't always want to just constantly wash them like they're a person.
I guess I was thinking in terms of Kiki getting baths, but Kiki's a short-haired dog. Very short-haired dog.
Probably fine.
Half of her just kind of doesn't really have fur.
Yeah.
And the old man does have his charms. He seems to have figured out just how far he can push his luck. I can do this. It's not weird. I just don't think about the hog.
Just don't think about it, Keith.
Just don't think about the hog. That's impossible. It's literally impossible. Especially with the size of that sensor.
Magic hands, my boy.
You're not helping. He taps at my back once more.
Slide all the way in, boy. Gotta boil them ticks off.
Wait, ticks?
Of course. I think you can traipse through the forest with a few dozen tag-alongs.
I submerge with extreme prejudice, quickly learning the limits of how long this body can hold its breath. When I resurface with a gasp of air, I notice Stinky's looking around, scanning the room diligently.
I'll let you know if he turns up, boy. Enjoy yourself.
Stinky grins, declaring it Snapdragon time, and rolls from his pole to one of the larger, more occupied ones in back. This time, Snapdragon appears to involve him hiding underwater and suddenly yanking people underneath. Who? Opa silences my question with the footpaw raised up to my snout. For scrubbing. Right. Despite the dutiful ministrations I've been tasked with, I end up feeling surprisingly relaxed and refreshed here. Sure, it's loud, hot, and smelly, but it's comforting. I can see the Gnolls chatting, playing, bonding. And here I am, finding comfort in the chaos. I'm at soup. God damn it, God. Jesus Christ. By the time I'm done pampering the portly old cat codger, Stinky's loudly declaring himself Snapdragon champion and returns to fetch Opa. Smoked him. Didn't even have to voke him. Right, what exactly is that? Oh, you ain't got voking in hell? Well, I give you a show, but I'm tapped out. Good thing, too. Don't want a case of the quakes while I'm in town. My lack of understanding could fill a book. But I'm sure you got plenty of stuff in hell that puts me to shame. Is it true you've got chair riots? I don't know. Probably just chariots, but emphasize. Is it true you got chariots fueled by the burning blood of ancient dragons? Sure. I want to go there. He turns and catches Opa threatening to doze off again. Alright, Opa, let's find us a room before it's too dark. Oh, I hadn't considered that. Do you guys do inns, or...? Most of the places here are common houses. First come, first serve once the night can wake up and clear out of them. Eepy.
Nightkin. Those possessed of a lesser demon that leads them to favor the night. They have difficulty with attentiveness and focus in the daytime, but many tribes value them for their keen alertness in dark hours while others slumber. Nightkin in the Empire must struggle to suppress these tendencies lest they draw unwanted scrutiny. Many are forced to use narcotics to suffer through the daytime hours.
Knew some folks work in the sewers back at the city that was defo Nightkin. Tav and Gash at their own place, though. They prefer their privacy.
Right, I spot Tav peeling himself away from a gaggle of young women that had begun braiding his hair so that he could head for the exit. I disembark to give chase, but pause first. Thanks, by the way, for earlier, I mean. I'm not good with kids.
Kids are easy, you just gotta think on their level. I'm a natural.
Right, well, I guess I'll see you guys tomorrow.
Probably.
I leave Opa in Stinky's capable hands and hurry to catch up with Tav.
Put a towel on.
Oh, right. So
I keep thinking Tav is your character's name for some reason, because in my head I'm thinking of like Baldur's Gate 3, the protagonist.
The protagonist is named Tav.
Yeah, his name Tav, yeah.
Or like the audience agreed upon name is Tav because like in the files or something it's Tav or something.
It is the default name, so if you don't enter a name, it's just Tav. But
I didn't even know that you could do that in RPGs.
Yeah,
I never tried it until visual novels introduced the idea.
Well, I think...
I mean, I know in Fallout your default name was none, but...
Well, I think when you go to do it, if you create a custom character, it is just the name that's filled out. Like, you have to delete it to enter a name in. But it's because, this fun fact, I'm pretty sure it's because Baldur's Gate 3's like code name in development was Project Gustav.
That's goofy.
And then it just became Tav. Yeah, I don't know. It's something like that. I don't remember exactly, but yeah.
So, tonight...
You're staying where I can keep an eye on you.
He holds up his wrist, tapping the leash.
You better take good care to keep that body clean. You're just borrowing it.
He hasn't given up, even after everything that's happened. Something about that makes my tail wag a little. I guess I can let myself cling to a bit of hope as well. Woo, 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 woo. You idiot. It's all your fault. Hello. Is this Earth?
It looks like...
Is the blurring moving? Am I insane?
I don't know. I think it's an optical illusion, but it reminds me of how in the Mario movie they needed for some reason to justify Mario being from Brooklyn, so they made him go into the sewer to find the warp pipe. You know what I'm talking about? I'm losing my mind.
I need to watch the movie again. I feel like it's better than I remember. Actually, no, I feel like it's better than people remember it being, because I feel like I just always liked it as a kid.
Oh, I was not talking about the old one. That movie is abysmal. It is terrible and unwatchably bad. I was talking about the new one, the Super Mario movie, the one you don't like, the animated one.
Oh.
Because remember, the movie starts and they're in Brooklyn. They're in actual ass New York, and then they go into the sewer, and that's how they isekai their way into the Mushroom
like impossible
Kingdom.
To remember. All right, I was able to verify that the second background layer is moving, because if you look at the spiral hypno tunnel, you can see the lines moving.
Like, are you sure that's not an optical illusion?
Yeah. No, yeah, you can literally see like the blurring effect where they overlap is moving.
Gotcha.
Like actively.
Oh, the blur is moving, yes.
Yeah. Because like that's where the two sets of lines are overlapping with each other differently. So like that effect is moving actively,
yeah,
so you can tell that it's all moving.
Yeah.
Yeah, anyway. As you run through the labyrinthine mire of sewers sprawled beneath the city, that's all you can think about it. You fucked up. It's all your fault. You were in such high spirits, you'd finally scrimped and saved enough to make something nice for him. The other muckrakers, they always talked about their families too. The porcine orc that was too bristly to pass as a proper, domesticated piggy. He sang the praises of every new lover he laid with. The mischief of rat folk that suffused the crew. They were always so proud of their seasonal litters. Even the Flayerkin bragged about his tadpoles. The mind flayers. But they have the right to be here, documents and permissions, and the blessing of the Emperor to scrounge through his city's refuge like bottom feeders. This is interesting. It might be one of Gash's memories. You lowered your guard. Let it slip. Let him slip. The supervisor, the slave driver, his ears perked up at that. He knew you were undocumented. That's why he paid you only a quarter salary, after the others had already gone. He knew how much the right pair of hands were worth to the right employer. Small hands. Tender hands. Hands nobody would miss. If he'd have known how young you really were, he would have sold you for a pretty penny too already. But you're big for your age. Strong for your age, made for labors too bothersome for your betters. Just what the city needs. This accursed city. A maze for rats. Choking, suffocating, binding. So narrow. Pressing in from all sides. Your lungs burn from exertion. The vile miasma of the sewer sears your sense of smell with every sharp inhalation. That's a lot of S. You can't get sick from it, they say. You're a perfect fit from the sewers, they say. Just roll around in the muck like the mindless savage they know you to be. Bow and scrape and play the fool and hope against hope they don't notice. But now, they've noticed. Couldn't even do that right. The city undulates around you, the slums cavorting and contorting to make you lose your way. He knows where you live. A quick tip to the whelp snatchers, a few coins in exchange, and just like that, Tav will be gone. Those vile dogs will find him. They'll drag him away to another orphanarium. They'll sell him to the highest bidder. He's too good for that. He's so sweet. He's smart. He already knows more letters than you do. You can't let them take him. You can't let him go. There's a lot of backgrounds. There's a lot of this. There's a recurring icon of a head with a knife in it, and X eyes and a crown, which just seems like it's explicitly like an anti the king or the anti the emperor like brand, like a sign of rebellion. So it looks like a crown at least. That's freaking out right now, but
yeah,
pretty sure. Home, the shabby little hovel the two of you had built together, the merest semblance of shelter in a city that floods with indifference. You clutched that silly little thing in your paws, the thing you spent months trying to cobble together. It was supposed to be a gift for his name day, a celebration. But now you have to go. Somewhere. Anywhere but here. Someplace where they couldn't take him away from you. Then you smell them. Your heart sinks. You're not alone. You were followed, you fucking fool. You turn, ready to fight, to defend him at any cost. The titanic figure that towers before you snatches away any hope of victory. His gargantuan bulk ascends into the void of night above without a face. His companion slithers beside you, faster than you can blink. It's over. I awaken with a gasp, heart pounding in my chest, sweat pouring from my body despite the brisk chill of the arid night. Another brutal dream. A nightmare so vivid I can't untangle it from my own memory at first. A soft sniffle perks my ears. No. No, he's got a gash plush. No. That's a lot. He's hurting so bad. That toy. It's the one I made him. No. The one you made him. Now it's all he has left. I can't just let him suffer like this. Is there really anything I can do without making it hurt even worse? Oh!
Oh no, there are choices.
Oh.
Ka didn't prepare me for branching paths.
Hello. That's an interesting word choice for the split, too. Comfort and respect. Huh. There is a dilemma where it's like you'd want to comfort him, but there's the question of whether or not you even can, given that you're like the exact thing that he's upset about. But it's just so pathetic and upsetting. You're just like, no, I don't like it. I don't like this. The leg wraps stay on. What do you think?
I think respect is more in character right now. I like this music though. I haven't had the music on this entire time and I didn't realize that.
Oh.
I like this though. This is very Blade Runner. I really like it.
The chromatics, they're aberrating. Oh, the D-pad does work. You can get there eventually. Maybe? I can't... Oh, oop. Did you go left there? I don't know how it works. Anyway. This is gonna be sad, though. Empty Heart song starts immediately. That's not... No. I don't deserve to hold him, to feel his embrace or bask in his scent. I'm the one that did this to him, the source of all his suffering. It would only twist the knife to offer him succor in this body. A cruel jest, salt in his wounds, dirt in his eye. I turn and cover my ears, joining him in tears for what remains of the night. Our character's really affected by all this. The morning comes without another wink of sleep. How could I rest with this weight upon my heart? Can't stand this. I have to do something. I'm running, just like he did. The streets are near empty this early, but the matron's curtain is raised. I imagine this might be like a point system where instead of being a distinct route split, it's like a system where how much you pick one side or the other might lead to an outcome where, like, it might even be like the split between like whether or not Gash or Escher ultimately survives. Like the choice between the two of them.
Mm-hmm.
Which would be matching like the actual dilemma at the core of this too. But the matron's curtain is raised.
You're up early, pup.
I need to do something. I don't know why it's capitalized.
Clarify.
Anything. I can't stand feeling so useless in all this. I want to help him. So badly I can't stand it, but I don't know how. Rath sighs deeply, beckoning me closer until his paws touched down on my shoulders, steadying my ragged breaths.
Why him?
Because I wronged him. I took away someone so precious to him. He keeps up his line of questioning in a gentle tone, reviewing what we've already discussed to guide me.
Did you mean to?
No, but that's what happened. Gash is gone because of me.
Do you know how to bring him back?
No, but I have to find a way.
And if you can't?
Then I'll spend the rest of my life making it up to him. To atone.
Do you think he wants that?
What?
Will that make him happy? To see you suffer? Who are you doing this for? Is it really for him? Or is it for you? Come here, boy. I know it's hard. Loss is always hard. But it's not something we can make up the difference for like that. It's something that sticks with us forever. We can live through it. We can adapt, but we'll always carry that weight.
Then, what can I do?
You can start by taking care of yourself. Harder than it sounds at first, I know. But if you can manage that, well, you can take care of others. Can't build bridges on a flimsy foundation.
Myself, I'm having a hard time with that.
I can tell. But I'm glad you came here. I'm glad you feel comfortable enough to talk to me about it. And I'm glad you're still here with us.
My lip trembles. How can I be so gentle like this?
I think you can get better. I think you can be a good boy.
Can I? Me?
Yes, you. You have the drive to make things better. You can make yourself better. You can make us better. That's what tribe means here.
His kindness is overwhelming. Is this what it's like to stand before a matron?
So what'll it be? Are you going to be a good boy?
Huh. Hello. I wonder what these choices amount to. I mean, here it seems like we would just agree. What we're trying to do.
Yeah, I think we'd agree.
We don't have a reason to pull back yet. It'll be interesting to unpack what the other options amount to. But that would be like after the entire Vienna's done, I think.
Yeah.
See if it amounts to like a different arc overall. Yes, I'll do anything, please. I promise. I'll get Gash back, even if it means. My heart aches at the thought. I talked a bit game about wanting to stay, but if it comes down to me or Gash, who gets to stay? Of course it's him, right? He plucks my chin up to lock eyes with me.
No, we don't sacrifice one soldier to save another. But we won't give you up to get there.
You didn't read the first half?
Oh, I thought, for some reason it looked like it. I thought it was pulling a password on me. We'll find a way to get him back, but we won't give you up to get there. After all, you're my good boy now, aren't you?
Who's a good boy? We get to hear the Beck voice say that a lot. I'm on the verge of tears, sniffling to hold back the extra gooey ones.
This is not what is happening right now, but this is what I imagine happens when like people fall down the like Jordan Peterson pipeline. It's just like really sad, lonely men who are like, they read one weird alt-right philosopher go like, clean your room. That's what being a man is. And they're like, thank you. This is very funny. It's just very funny that we got recruited into a militia just by being like, you're here.
The Marxists
are you a
say
good
you
boy?
Can't be a good boy.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly what I'm saying. Ridiculous.
Nope, here they come. Giant dumb belly man. We don't see him very often. He is twice as big as every other character.
We've seen him a lot this update, which is cool. I wonder if COD did that because like people pointed out that you just like didn't get a sense of him at all in the opening. Granted, this is the second act of a story, right? Like the first act wasn't really that long, so we
saw his
had
reflection at the beginning, and then we saw him in the group shot. But he shows up in like every CG basically.
Yeah, exactly.
He's fucking huge. He cradles my head in his chest, comforting me as I bawl my fucking eyes out.
There you go, let it out. That's a good boy.
The matron tends to me as I weep. He doesn't shy away no matter how much trauma I dump on him. He stays calm, warm. Does he do this for everyone? How can he take it all? I close my eyes and bask in his smell. His embrace wraps around me like a warm blanket. It's much more complex than the others, fragrant with opposing elements, old scars and new life, fraught with opposing elements, gunpowder and gravy. Old scars and new life, gunpowder and gravy. After what feels like an eternity of sobbing and what must be like a gallon of Gnoll residue, his counsel brings me to rest at last. He even gives me a task to help give me purpose, for today at least. One day at a time, he says. One step at a time. I leave with one of the wicker baskets we'd brought with us, and rough directions on some deliveries to make. In the time I spent with the matron, it seems the bulk of the town is roused from slumber, the streets packed with myriad conversations, bartering, and more than a little good-spirited roughhousing. A few friendly waves and curious snouts greet me as I pass through. With most folks not having permanent abodes here, I have to ask around for last whereabouts to find the recipients of these parcels. It seems most folks rely on their noses to find who they're looking for around here, but seeing as I'm not familiar enough yet, this might take a while. The first I managed to find in the outer rim of the village is a plump gnoll on the shorter end, barely any taller than Tav. And he's a real character, because he's got a face.
He's hot. Also, I think this is a fursona. I don't know if this is a fursona, but this looks like a Dead Stray Bear character that I've seen.
I'm staring at
elsewhere.
it. I'm staring at them like I recognize them, but it's hard to know.
Exactly.
There's a type. Gnolls have a type overall, so it's hard to tell if it's just Gnoll vibes and familiar art style.
Maybe he just looks a little bit like if you took Horror Buns and made him a Gnoll. If you took Dusty and made him a Gnoll.
All the silver foxes.
Yeah.
He's in a densely packed cluster of gnolls gathered around a lone egg sitting on the ground, cautiously observing and sniffing at it. Hyena jokes. He pulls himself away from that riveting entertainment to accept a few poorly bound books from my basket. Though his stoic, somewhat sleepy expression barely changes any, I can tell he's a bit melancholic about the delivery. He explains that they're books on animal husbandry and farming almanacs. He can wrangle a speaker later to help him learn what's inside, but it's hard to get started without any livestock or seeds to lay the groundwork with. They've been gently encouraging that egg ever since they found it, but even the warmest of their number has yet to hatch it. It smells alive, though, and it trembles now and again, so they're certain it's been sired proper. I know I have other deliveries to make, but this is something I can do too. For the next few hours, we sit and pore over the books, looking for any hints on proper poultry pampering. We managed to identify the egg at last, that of the barmy dust pheasant. They buried their eggs in shallow dunes to let the warm sands heat them evenly and keep them hidden. The egg must have been left abandoned and unburied, and there's likely a great many more to be found in the dunes beyond. After a few tries to recreate these conditions, the crowd erupts in joyous excitement when a tiny beak pierces up through the shell and sand, peeping up a storm. Maybe the little peeper's instincts told it to stay inside while exposed out of the surface, or maybe it just needed a firm bed of sand around to push free of its shell instead of just wobbling around. Either way, it feels great to see them so excited over this. The fact that he never moved makes me, and has his own little, context, does make me slightly more suspicious that he's a single drawing and not a full sprite of a Patreon supporters character or something. But who knows?
Yeah, he looks very familiar.
I just think back to the, in Echo, there's the carnival guy.
Yeah.
That's just like someone's cat, and he doesn't emote or change drawings. The next recipient I managed to track down is in the heart of the village proper, where baskets and pots build makeshift stalls where dunes run overhead to provide a bit of shade for some heated haggling. With so many gnolls in one place, the crowded street forms an ad hoc bazaar for those with goods on offer or services to render. I don't see any coin-changing paws, so I imagine they're still working on the barter system here. The gnoll I'm directed to eyes me with a predatory grin, sizing me up. Uh-huh.
Yep. That's Fumbles.
Yep.
That's Fumbles. That's the Gnoll Playing Games mascot.
Yep. That's
him.
Uh-huh. Down to the pose.
Down to the pose.
Got it.
That's him. Wow, we have HD Fumbles art. When is this going to go on our Gnoll Playing Games Patreon?
I mean, third shirt?
It should.
I was like, hang on a minute. It takes several attempts to belay his well-practiced sales pitch and ante-upping before I get the message across that I'm here to deliver something rather than bargain. He's elated with the small satchel of delicate-looking tools I deliver, revealing that he's a dice maker by trade.
Yeah.
Uh-huh. And indeed, his impromptu little shop is stocked with all manner of bones to roll. He explains that the trade has been getting more and more popular as the village grows. Not only are little trinkets favored by full-grown gnolls seeking to gamble in their downtime, but they've become a popular entertainment vector for the children, too. Educational, even. He shows me his special dice with numbers and letters printed on them. The children make games of seeing what they can spell as they roll, usually with dirt eating as punishment for failure. Recognizing I'm no stranger to letters myself, it quickly tries to upsell me on a full set, and takes quite some time to pry myself away without simply breaking into a full sprint to escape.
That's fun.
That's fun.
That's fun. That's fun. We got high quality mascot art. It feels nice.
It's like, in a way, it's like the third-ish time we're in this game.
Yeah. Man, no, I'm so happy. I feel so proud of my baby.
I like that people make things and that we'll exist in an ecosystem of people making things where we make things.
Yeah, it's fun.
The next delivery takes me back to the hot springs, which suits me just fine, but as by my reckoning, it's nearly soup o'clock. The dour-looking Gnoll sipping soup from a stein stares God damn it. Stares at me with profound intensity as I deliver a set of very sharp needles to him. Sipping soup, stein stares. Everyone looks like I know who they are, and it's driving me crazy. He examines the needles closely, picking at a finger to draw a droplet of blood, and nodding his head in satisfaction with the results. He explains that he's a piercer. Many of the refugees here hailed from tribes that used piercings to denote their spiritual beliefs or romantic preferences. If you get a horn through the right ear, then specifically, it's common to have distinct preferences to denote funerary preferences. Distinct piercings to denote funerary preferences in case you're found dead by strangers. Earth Mother adherents typically preferred an earthen burial. Brood Mother faithful were to be eaten. Tide Lord disciples were to be cast to the sea, and so on. Couldn't help but ask about his own lack of piercings given his profession. He explained that his remaining ones were a bit more intimate, but he lost the ones in his ear when his son died. I realized I should probably drop it there. My job is done. But he seems like he could use someone to talk to. I sit with him and bowl up some soup. I ask about his son. He seems surprised, but his expression softens to allow at least a hint of a smile as he reminisces. He says his son had a difficult life, born with demons that tormented him until the end. Seizures, mood swings, and so much screaming. The demons took him just before his 10th summer. Afterwards, they found a demon bulb the size of a fist in his head while cleaning his bones. But even with his demons, he still had so much joy inside of him. The piercer explains that he'll carry that smile with him, always. He then lifts his kerchief to show the fanged necklace he keeps beneath it. Oh. He goes to explain that the boy did have his good days. He could be proper sweet, even though he never really got a grasp on words. The other kids were quite fond of him. They loved rolling bones together, so he had the dice maker make them each a set from the boy's remains to remember him by. He looks a bit less grim after our chat. That felt good, I think. We'll be a matron yet. Just gotta get all the booby weed to get our boobs on, and then we're ready. I'm finally down to the last of my deliveries. This one's a letter, actually, sealed with wax and everything. I thought Tav had handled all those. Maybe this one got mixed into the baskets by mistake. The stamp resembles an overflowing beer stein. I suspect the golden color of the wax is meant to resemble ale to match that theme. And not pee. Even though it looks a lot like pee. The scar it's addressed to is apparently a grouchy old chimera, according to the helpful folks pointing me along the trail. I'm just thinking of the way that it's like in a pathology they call it chimera.
Yeah.
Just completely catches me off guard.
They just pronounced it wrong, yeah.
But they pronounced it like 5 different ways.
Yeah.
He looks scaly. Oh, Chimera, right.
Yeah.
I remember.
Scar is a retired mercenary that used to operate out of the Empire along with his partner Bigot. Big Gut? Bigoot.
Bigoot?
I think it's Big Gut. His status as a Chimera made living in the Empire hard, but he managed to leverage that for the significant intimidation factor. Intimidation factor.
Oh, yeah. Oops.
I'm setting this to cop. Before he found us and got us out of the city, he was working to smuggle letters and packages between the Empire and Shattertusk. But because of us, he had to give that up. He was spotted a few too many times and rearranged enough faces during our escape to garner an impressive bounty on his head.
It's okay. He taught us the ropes so we could take over and play mailman now.
Hello, Demon
Chimera.
Skunk. Wait, I've seen this drawing before.
Hybrid offspring that result from couplings between two different peoples. Chimera are exceedingly rare, as interspecies reproduction is almost never viable, and the few that are born are usually riddled with mutations and very prone to ailment. Most don't survive to adulthood. Common belief holds that the Chimeras suffer monstrous deformities and are prone to savagery the more mixed their blood becomes, as they stray from the forms first granted to us by whatever old god elevated us from mere beasts.
How come we don't call them chimeras with an S? That's weird.
I ordered Yama's art book, and it's just like a reprint of a bunch of Yama's like sketches and drawings and comics over the years. But specifically, the bottom of every page has a gash like little like narration from the Yama character that's denoting what page number it is. And so I'm just like getting flashbacks there of it. I'm like, yep, that's the vibe. Just dumb little man speaking in caps lock, just not really adding anything, but he's here. Look at him go. It doesn't take too long to find him on the outskirts of town, resting on a stone outcropping where he can stare out into the wilderness unbothered. Those are little houses that are hiding behind the text. This is beautiful.
Yeah, it's nice.
Is that the soup cave? I can feel the collar's tug starting to nag at me, so this must be near the end of my range. He's neat. There's a Chimera, I guess. He's got a scaly bottom.
He's like
It's all
Dingo Dial.
underbelly. Yeah,
Correct.
that's a neat character design. With just one Gnoll, I understand. With just one look, I understand what they meant by Chimera. He definitely doesn't look entirely Gnoll. And the glare he sends my way doesn't look like he's interested in company, so I'll try to keep the delivery brief. Scar? Letter for you. Oh, he moves. That's suspicious. I think he's a real character. With a sigh, he holds out his hand expectantly. Oh, I guess you don't need a speaker. The harsh, deep gravel of his voice is tinged with annoyance and a bit of reptilian rasp. What does he sound like? Good eye ain't gone out on me yet. As I hand over the letter, he starts to tear it open, and I can't help but feel there's something off about him. I close my eyes and focus on his scent. It's almost become second nature at this point. Wait. There's nothing? He's got no scent whatsoever. It's actually kind of unsettling. And I don't remember seeing him at soup last night either. At soup. Quit giving me that look. I already told you and your little boyfriend I'm retired. My... what? Simmer down there, kid. Don't take a speaker to read the lines between the lines with you two. And that blush of yours sure ain't doing you any favors if you're trying to keep it under wraps. I sputter and recoil at the brazen assertion, a nervous cackle escaping me unbidden. Am I blushing? I think my ears are splayed and my tail is waving anxiously. But the thought of me and Tav, but he means Gash. So those two were even closer than I thought. Escher, are you stupid?
I think he is. I think he's dumb.
Wait, how did you not? Okay. The old Chimera grumbles as he crumples up that letter, already having finished it during my little freakout.
I think actually that line should probably just be removed.
The line about Escher not
Are they closer
realizing
than I
that
thought?
they're closer? Yeah. Like, maybe I missed it, but I feel like that couldn't have been avoided until now.
Yeah. That should be removed.
Drinks are on me, he says, as if I can just pop by on an afternoon stroll. I don't see his fat ass marching halfway across the realm to pay us a visit. It's the big guy, you probably figured. Got himself a new temple and fancies himself a holy man now. My ears perk. A holy man? Like, kind that can banish demons? If you can put up with his preaching, sure. He always said he was a master of spirits. So he's an alcoholic, got it. Where? We gotta go find him. Not like you get far in an imperial territory without a guide. Then show me. Now listen here, I busted my tail to get you pups out of the Empire. Now you want me to take you back? His thick reptilian tail thwaps hard against the ground, either to emphasize his point or just because he's getting riled. This is important. Simmer down, kid. What the hell's gotten into you? Exactly. Hell's gotten into me. You ain't making a lick of sense. Look, Scar. It's Scar, right? I don't know how you knew him, or how you haven't heard by now. Honestly, this town is rife with gossip. Out with it, kid. Gash is gone. A demon took over his body. It's me. I'm the demon. Hi, hello, name's Escher. Boy, you better quit playing games. I fall. I'm okay. Demon caller. He must have wound the leash back up. Anyway, let's keep going. I'm good down here, don't worry. I just need to find a way to banish myself back to hell so Gash can have his body back, and him and Tav can get married, and everything will be fine forever. So, just tell me where this holy man is, and I'll be out of everyone's hair. Done and done. Yeah, this is an adequately baffling protagonist for everyone else to deal with. Like, this is the idea of anyone having this series of motivations is like a lot to take in. Please say words. He soon rouses from that stunned silence, kneeling down to examine me. God's damned. You ain't fooling around, huh? No, sir, Mr. Scar, sir. Yeah, you sure ain't him. Thought you were talking funny. Ah! Wait. They didn't mirror his sprite. There's a separate sprite for when he rotates.
Cool.
Because he has the cut ears and the
eye patch.
Okay, the Scar mirrors. Whoops. But the eye patch doesn't mirror. They flip the eye patch correctly. Tav stomps to the dirt furiously, following the direction the leash dangles from his wrist like some kind of dowsing rod.
What the hell are you doing out here?
Mailman?
I thought I told you to stay close so I could keep an eye on you.
Can I get up now? He grunts and unwinds the leash a bit more. I breathe a sigh of relief as the rest of my body wakes back up, slowly finding my way back to my feet. Look, I think I found a solution.
You're in no position to.
Just listen. For once, just listen to me. I know you're hurt. I'm hurting too. This sucks for everyone, but please just hear me out for once before you shut me down. Alright, so Scar here knows a holy man that might be able to exorcise me.
You mean Big Gut?
I suppose it might work.
Scar.
Look, he set up shop deep in Empire lands. It'd take a miracle to get there without papers. Don't make that face, kid.
It's not like you could take us anyway. After all, you're retired, right?
Scar, you said you got these two out of the Empire, right? So they're important to you? This might be the only chance we have to save Gash. So please, if there's any way we can make this happen. You're serious about this? As serious as can be. Demon's honor. That's... uh-huh. Fine. Let's run it by the matron. And just like that, he marches off with heavy footfalls, dragging that thick tail of his through the dust. I'm not going to be your problem for much longer. Come on, let's get it over with. Back in the village proper, my ears perk at hearing a familiar voice rising above the din of the crowd, and we soon stumble upon Opa performing a story recitation beneath the merciful shade of an awning. Before I know it, I'm getting swept up in the tail end of a tale about the dangers of snapdragons. Tav keeps walking, and I can feel the collar's tug, but the way Opa speaks commands such gravitas that I feel a need to stop and listen anyway. There's all the kids! Look at all those tiny punk-ass kids.
I like the one...
That's a striped hyena.
Right, with the big round eyes is cute character design.
Big old goofy ones. There's one striped hyena. The one on the left is just like, this is really working on you? Just baffled by Stinky being such a child. And it seems I'm not the only one. He's got the younger children enraptured as well. Also Stinky. He's got no less than 3 of the little buggers crawling over him with the best seats in the house to hear Opa's storytelling. There's a lot of CGs and they're really good.
Yeah.
Most of the older gnolls don't look nearly as enthused, but are happy to bask in the shade's caress at the very least. As the story wraps up, he motions to retire from the recitation, but the children's pleading soon convinces him to stay for just one more. With my recent arrival in town apparently still on their minds, their cheers soon turn to demands for a story about demons.
Demons. Big, scary, creepy, crawly, sinful, salacious demons.
The cheering reaches a crescendo. The old man knows how to play a crowd.
Then how about the tale of the good demon?
Tav stops dead in his tracks as he hears that, returning to my side to listen.
I haven't heard this one.
As Opa sets the scene with a vivid depiction of the Mad Mage's sanctum in the heart of the Empire, gesticulating wildly to sell the spectacle of the story, Tav snags the journal back from me and inks up his claw to begin recording every word. That's how he writes. That's funny.
But the Mad Mage, Fistandantalus, vile vocal that he was, didn't know what he'd bargained for when he called a demon to occupy his own body. He thought he could sequester it away in his oh-so-brilliant mind to command its power without losing himself to the demon's influence. But once the summoning was complete, he grew not muscles to enhance his diminutive frame, nor the wicked claws, horns, or fangs he envied in his peers. Instead, he grew the most dreadful thing of all, dear boys and girls.
He pauses for dramatic effect.
A conscience.
Audible gasps echo through the audience. Stinky's is particularly loud.
The power-hungry mage had summoned himself not a sinful conspirator or fiendish brute, but an honest-to-goodness good demon. The poor demon was trapped indeed, languishing in old Fisty's head for months after this failed summoning. It admonished him for each vile experiment he conducted, rebuked him for the cruel treatment of his familiars, and even scolded him when he failed to bathe. At last he could suffer no more of this nagging reproach. He wouldn't let some lowly demon tell him what to do. So he forged a baleful gem to seal the demon within, cackling with glee as it begged for mercy. And so brought his staff, but the mad mage knew no mercy, and so brought his staff thundering down upon the ritual circle to cast the demon out once and for all.
To be clear, this isn't an issue with the visual novel. Keith streams this game to me at like 15 frames per second, so it stutters when Discord likes to jump things. So it's very unclear to me if something changes.
I figure it's better to give you 1080 but low frame rate instead of low frame rate and higher resolution.
Yes.
I don't believe it'll work otherwise.
Yeah.
But demons aren't dealt with so easily, my friends. When the mad mage awoke, he found no breath with which to scream, nor maw to curse the fate that had befallen him. He had trapped himself within the gem. The demon scheme proved fruitful at last. It had studied his secrets and learned quickly, sabotaging his ritual at the last moment to curse him with the very prison he sought to sequester in. Free at last, the demon took his body for itself. And do you know what it did to his body?
He pauses once more to spur audience interaction before continuing.
The demon became a champion of justice, righting wrongs and vanquishing villains across the Empire. So if even a demon can be good, what excuse do you little whelps have?
The old Gnoll's teasing remarks draw a wave of giggles from the little ones. As Oppa wraps up and the crowd starts to disperse, I return my gaze to Tav and see him looking at the journal fondly. The story proved a nice change of pace after that heated discussion outside the village. Even Tav can't help but smile a little as he puts the finished touches on the entry. Part of me wonders why Oppa decided to tell that particular story. You don't think he made that up just because of me, did you?
I don't think so. That sounded pretty practiced, like he's told it plenty of times before.
I peer closer to see what he's written. It looked like he managed to capture every word, even with the brisk pace Oppa spoke it. That's really impressive, actually. Do you always record his stories? He passes the book back to me, avoiding my gaze. Oop. Oh, that was weird. Did it?
I can. Oh, maybe it's in something else. Maybe it's in a different entry.
Oh, up here. Oppa?
We do have new people to read. We've read this one already for sure.
Before, yeah.
Yeah, but we do have new people.
I think we already know all these.
Rath, we didn't.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, okay. We did read that one. Did we read the one about Scar? Yeah, we did.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
All the early doodles.
It's hard because they're colored, so I can't tell which ones we read and which ones we didn't.
Yeah. They might be color coded whether you clicked on them manually or something. I don't know.
Maybe. I don't know. The good demon. It's down there. That's what
there it is. I was like, what's going on? It's under terms is interesting.
Story of a good demon that foiled the machinations of the mad mage Fistandantilus, proving that anyone has the capacity for good or evil within them, regardless of their origin. It's a simple morality tale for children, but a necessary one. There didn't seem to be too much else going on with it, like subtext or a story within a story. Gash always said to pay attention to those because they foreshadow important events yet to come. Yeah. Yeah.
God damn it. All right. Yep. Called out. Sure.
When I can, storytelling is historically an oral tradition for the Gnolls. But if nobody writes it down, it might get forgotten someday. And that's just so sad, to think that after you're gone, nobody will remember who you were or what you did. Your legacy just vanishes.
Here comes that feeling again. I just can't stand seeing him spiral like this. I know I'm not responsible for cheering him up, but I dig deep anyway, searching my memory for a less gloomy paradigm to parrot. I like to imagine that even after you're gone, the people whose lives you touched will carry on your legacy.
And when they're all dead too?
Well, then who cares? Think. Well, I suppose it's like a pebble in a pond, isn't it? The kindness you drop in the water influences the people around you to be more kind in turn, and that keeps rippling outward. Eventually, you can't even see the ripples anymore, but the pond itself stands higher overall. You never know. That kind of legacy might end up being even more impactful than whatever written records manage to survive the ages. I know I'd rather make the world a little kinder, instead of being remembered forever as the guy who sold shitty copper or something.
Well, I'm still going to write down as much as I can, but... That's a really nice thought, actually. It reminds me of some philosophy books Gash used to read to me.
Oh, was he a big reader too?
He's the one that taught me, fought Tuscan Claw to sneak discarded books back for me when he worked as a trash picker.
Really? I guess he was smarter than I realized.
Yeah, I just wish he realized that himself.
You made it! I was worried you'd miss story time.
Kinda got caught up in it, but by surprise actually. We were about to go to the matron's hut with Scar.
Scar? He's here?
Oh, yeah, I guess he must have gone ahead to see it, of us to see the matron. Whoop! Siki bolts in that direction without another word.
Well, this is going to be a mess.
Excited energy. Bouncing Stinky. We arrived to find the partition drawn shut, with Nika standing guard to keep Stinky out from behind it. Calm yourself, boy. They won't be long.
But it's been so long. Will you even recognize me?
I'm sure he can already smell you. Shroud doesn't block that.
That look. This boy be testing me one and only nerve.
Stinky, let's help out with some poultice prep.
But...
I'm sure Nika could use help with your medicine anyway.
After some time spent crushing up dried nettles and making paste from death root, the curtain finally opens. That's a dense screen. It's just a lot here at once. Everyone has a very wide stance in this game. Some tension hangs in the air as the two older Gnolls join us from behind the curtain.
You've been busy, pup.
Oh, yeah, delivery is taken care of. Mailman.
Only been here a day and already you hatched a scheme to get yourself exercised.
Oh, yeah, that too.
Now, my first instinct, and forgive my mistrustful nature, is that a sudden plan to take a handful of my good boys back into the Wombwood with you smells like a goddamn trap.
The Wombwood? Oh, yeah, I guess that's the only way back to the Empire.
But I reckon I should practice a bit more of what I preach and give you a chance to prove yourself.
So, you mean...
If Tav's willing to accompany you, of course, leash and all. But I ain't gonna force you, none of you. This needs to be something all three of you want to take care of. I can't speak. This needs to be something all three of y'all want to partake in.
Of course. If Scar's willing to show us the way, I know I'm asking a lot.
Not like I'm of any use farting away by my golden years in this place.
Scar?
Besides, the two of you wouldn't make it far into Imperial territory without getting your hides tanned. And the big oaf's been begging me to come visit anyway.
And you're sure you want to go back there?
Fuck no. This is my serious chin. But I made that kid a promise, and I intend to keep it.
So, we're really doing this then?
We'll have to be extremely careful. Normally, if we bump into brood witches, we can just drop everything and run.
But if they catch wind that I'm there, they'll hunt us down with everything they've got.
At least the forest still lets you in. The land itself rebels against my presence.
Yeah, they're still mad about all the blasphemies.
They can die mad.
That's a good grin right there. That's a solid one right there. God damn.
I can't hardly believe how fast things are moving. I was starting to think I'd have to spend months, maybe even years here before an opportunity like this came along. But that's what would happen if this game had like furry visual novel pacing. This more has like movie pacing.
Yeah.
I can feel the familiar pang of remorse squelching in my gut, but I'm getting better at ignoring it. Yeah, I don't want to leave. I'm getting sick of hearing myself think that. I've got to step up and take responsibility to fix this. And I might never get another chance like this. I'm drawn from my thoughts when Scar claps upon my shoulder.
Look, I'm on board with this for Tav and Gash, but I gotta know I can trust you, too.
Yeah, I know it must be hard to trust a demon.
Look, in my experience, demons ain't all the Empire makes them out to be. Most of the ones I've met are just scared shitless. They don't know the first thing about this world, except all that all the Imperials want them burned to the stake.
Okay, so the demons are totally from a different place, which I still think might be Earth, but we'll find out.
Yeah.
But I'm like, okay, the demons are not like, they don't know what the fuck's happening.
Sure, if they got a rich family, the Empire will hook them up with the treatments to cure them. Whatever that entails can't be good. Leaves them a quiet, docile shell afterwards, if not a drooling invalid outright. And I ain't gonna let none of you kids end up that way.
I'm not gonna let that happen either. Gash deserves his life back, and I'm gonna make sure that happens, no matter what.
Well, all right. You got hellfire in your eyes, Escher. It sounds like I can't count on you in a scrap with that collar on.
Yeah.
If we're quick and quiet, we won't need to do any fighting.
Shouldn't be too hard to lay low with just the three of us.
Hey!
Hey, kid.
I heard you were in town? And... well, I was hoping we could catch up.
Scar, come on.
No, it's okay. Kid, you're grown now. You got your own life. You don't need me around to mess it up. Well... then in that case, I'm coming too. You're what now? Look, me and Opa have been living in the Wombwood for years now. I know my way around it, even better than you do. And if push comes to shove, you want to have a Voker on your side, right? No way in hell.
He does have a point. Earth Mother's blessing could really come in handy down there, and on the other side, too. Plus, it's not like 4 is much harder to hide than 3.
Unless they're stinky. Look, I ain't gonna put an untrained kid in harm's way like that. I'm not a kid anymore.
It's not any different from us going.
Well, who's gonna look after Opa? Nika offered. She said she'll put him to work with poultices. Said it'll be good to keep his mind active at that age. Fine. He ain't my problem anymore. You're free to do whatever you want. I'll go tell Opa.
So, that was...
Family stuff. Makes me glad I'm an orphan.
Really?
No.
Hey, Gash is your family, and he'll be back real soon.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wanna go get soup?
Yeah.
I didn't get to spend much time in Shadow Tusk after all. But I'm glad there was soup. The number of times soup came up.
There was a lot of soup. There's a
There's a
You're
Patreon.
right, though.
You can support this game on Patreon now.
You can go support this game on Patreon. The updates come relatively frequently. I mean, it hasn't been that long since the last one. And also, it's paced well.
Yeah.
How many furry visual novels can you say that about?
It's actually wild.
It's paced like a movie. Scenes
it's wild
are
that
expedient.
It's just going.
Yeah, and have relevance.
I feel like this is the only way that I can write too. Where I'm like, I don't know how people even do write that for that long. What stuff's happening?
I like this. I think that there definitely is something to be said about like spending more time doing things, but I don't know. I like honestly don't know what I would even recommend we like slow down on, right? Like I don't know how much time there actually is to explore or do things with. You could always have more scenes in the town, but that's just, again, expanding the town. Like, we already know a lot about Gnoll culture. I feel like I know Gnolls in this better than I know them in most fantasy settings. So it's like, I don't know, this is very filmic pacing. I enjoyed that aspect of it. My suggestions to our dear friend Ka is be very wary about front loading and being very heavy with like jokes and memes and references. Just because it reads very obvious to people who aren't in on the joke or who are aware of memes.
Except
that a lot
for the
of
references
jokes
to me. Keep all those.
Yes, keep all of those. The reason why I say this is just because it does become very apparent when you're like not in on the joke or there's like a joke happening, and it's like it becomes very, very clear that like the meme density or the joke density or the reference density is really high. I don't think it's a problem here, but like if the next section was fully just jokes about things that like the audience is included on, or just references to things that your friends make, it will become really overbearing and indulgent. However, I think that in this case, it was relatively tight and there wasn't much of a concern with it because we got like character building in it. It's just be careful about going with every single gut reference to your friends. Like, remember that this is a story in a world that's happening, and use that to your advantage, but not everything should be a cameo or homage or a reference. And that's really all I got to say about that. Like, that's my only feedback. I gave some spelling errors to Ka while we were playing, but like...
just live reporting.
Yeah, just live reporting them, because that's the only way I'll remember. But like, yeah, that was good. That was as good. It I think it maybe was a little bit better, more expedient than the first chapter too. Like, and I here's actually a big thing is I really liked that first scene with the choice. The reason why I liked it is because it really efficiently categorizes and defines Gash and Tav's relationship, but it does it very concretely while also not being overbearing, in that we immediately understand from the CG that Gash and Tav care for each other. We understand their way of life from the backgrounds and like where they're hiding and where they're needing to live. And then the choice and the dialogue from the choices gives us a very concrete understanding of these characters and like what their desires and motivations are. And I do think that
Choice
that
is
is
also just immediately stressful.
Yeah.
You're like, oh,
And
no.
it's interesting because I think that also, that's also why that moment with Scar doesn't work, and why that line just needs to be deleted, where it's like, they're closer than I thought, because the scene pretty much immediately previous to that already communicated what their relationship was really effectively. And like, there's no doubt in anyone's mind what Gash and Tav were to each other. So there's no reason why the main character who just went through that would think or should think that there's anything more there's anything less than some sort of, close, intimate relationship between them. So that was really my only nitpick. But as far as, you guys have watched me play furry visual novels for over a year and a half now. This was pretty great, expedient and efficient, and good. I like that. That was good.
Now we gotta wait for the next one.
No
hurry.
Yeah, this was good.
Yep. See y'all next time.